Don't fast forward over this, you guys. Come on, 68 seconds out of your life. You want to hear about saving money, saving time? You want to run a small business? What about saving time and money? Stamps.com. That's what you got to do. I keep telling you about Stamps.com so you can avoid time-consuming trips to the post office. You can do many, many, many more things with all your free time.
Come on, honey. Get back to bed, honey.
So I got to get back to bed and be with my wife. Look at that. You know why I can do that? Because I'm not going to the stupid post office because I'm using Stamps.com. Do your mailing and shipping when it's convenient for you. Access all the services of the post office right from your desk. And priority mail, first-class mail. You know what? Mail order mail. It doesn't matter. If it's mail, Stamps.com will save you time and money. I use Stamps.com. Right now, I want you to use Stamps.com. Use my last name, Mohr, M-O-H-R, for this special offer. No risk trial, $110 bonus offer. That includes a digital scale and up to $55 free postage. I'm coming.
I'm nude.
I know you're nude, but Stamps.com is saving people time and money. Go to Stamps.com before you do anything else. Click on the microphone at the top of the homepage, and for the love of Pete, write in M-O-H-R. Stamps.com. Enter Mohr.
Put your name on it. Just put your name on it. That's all I say. Be a man or a woman. Put your name on it.
Well, I'd like to hear about it, potheads.
How the fuck you gonna know how to be great if you don't study greatness? Look at the game tape.
Donuts.
If you want a battle, it's either that you will or you won't.
You know, you're not a bad-looking man, Mr. Gals.
But you are, Blanche. You are in that chair.
There's something wrong with us. Something very, very wrong with us.
Hey, man! All right, the star of Buster and Chauncey's Silent Night.
Oh, my God.
1998's Buster and Chauncey's Silent Night, direct-to-video. No, Tom
By the way,
Arnold. Yes, sir.
Phil Hartman was in that, I believe.
Jesus.
Here's the deal. I go in there. I believe this is the one. I go in there, love Phil Hartman. I go in there, and I am the star of whatever this was. And he's one of the peripheral characters. And I said, I don't know. I don't do voices. This I said as we're recording it. And I go, how would you do this? And he does a voice. And I go, you're the star now. I'm going to do this Dinky or Dopey or whatever. And he sat there, and I have a tape that's about 2 hours long of him, us in the studio, of him, just being hilarious between takes of this thing that I treasure because he was so funny and so smart and so much better at that stuff in particular, as you know from working with him.
Tom Arnold on More Stories right now. Hit him up on Twitter at Tom Arnold and his website for all his stand-up dates. Back out on the road, hoofing it, making a living, working man. Tom Arnold
I like
Comedy. TomArnoldComedy.com. Phil Hartman, case to be made. Greatest cast member of all time.
Oh, absolutely.
Certainly a case to be made.
Absolutely. I'd say, because of length, because of what he could
Buster
do.
and Chauncey Silent Night.
Yeah, for sure that. But he also, he
Not
could be.
Saturday Night
There's
Live.
a good case to be made. He wasn't the biggest star, but the best cast member, I would vote for him 100%.
He was like the spine of the book. Like,
absolutely.
There's two ways to go about it. You can go greatest cast member after the fact.
Yeah.
And greatest cast member, like when they were there,
right.
What they did. You cannot possibly be that good. Like, he could be the warden. He could be Frank Sinatra.
Right.
He could be the guy selling cigarettes in the 1950s ad. I have a cigarette for taste.
Right.
He did all those things.
He did all
There's
that
nothing
stuff.
he couldn't do.
And you wonder, why wouldn't a guy like that then become the biggest star that ever was? Because he was so good at that. It's just that some people are so good at that job.
Yeah.
And, it
Chris
doesn't
Parnell
translate.
is like that.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
then when that was weird. Like when they let him go, I'm like, what?
And they let him go, or did he quit?
No, they let him go. I talked to him
people
on Suburgatory.
People never quit that show. Is that right, or do they?
So the ones that do have big balls. Ben Stiller got 5 episodes in and went, "This is fucking stupid. I'm out of here." Damon Wayans quit. Ben Stiller quit. Like Ben Stiller was like, "Nah, it's not what I want to do," and it worked out fine for him.
Yeah, it worked out
and when
great.
he did his sketch show, when it was just him and Jeff Kahn on MTV, like some of the most brilliant. He would get, like in music they do mashups.
Yeah,
like they play Johnny Cash and Nine Inch Nails. They would do like Dog Day Afternoon, but on Star Trek.
Right.
So
I did his sketch show way back.
you did?
Yeah, one of the first episodes, and it was so weird and funny, because He's a genius.
Phil Hartman, Farley is the one where you just go, he was like he was the sun, like he burned so bright.
Right, true.
And I think there's a case made for him, greatest. Eddie when he was there.
Absolutely.
Greatest of all. But Bill Murray.
And Eddie could do more characters than Chris. Chris kind of did his thing, and he was so great at it. But Eddie had more characters.
Eddie was the first guy when you watch Saturday Night Live and they do the credits and they go, and Don Pardo goes, Eddie Murphy, and there was like an extra separate applause.
Yeah.
And you were like, whoa, I didn't know that was. I've been watching this show a long time.
Right.
And like, not even Farley got that. So you're right. Like Eddie, there was like a mania. He was a rock star.
Yeah, he was.
Farley, I saw firsthand, obviously, but I think after the fact, Bill Murray.
Yeah.
Is he the greatest ever?
He might be very probably. Yeah. In my heart.
Yeah.
But there's two categories, like you just said.
Yeah.
There's Phil Hartman in this way, and then there's the guy that pops on everything he does.
Lost in Translation, and What About Bob, and
Right.
Ghostbusters.
Right, and whatever he wants to do. He doesn't have an agent, apparently. He doesn't answer the phone, and he does what he wants to do when he wants to do it.
Did you hear that? My wife told me there's like, whenever he's at a restaurant and there's a wedding, like he's compelled to go on stage and sing like Mandy. There's some song he's
really?
He's done it like 180 times. Like if he's just driving by like the Sportsman's Lodge and there's a wedding, he goes in and goes, "Let me give me this Mandy." Like he just starts singing.
Maybe that's because he's an alcoholic. I mean, I always think of my alcoholic personality wants to do something like that. And some guys, you go, wow, they're so cool. They don't want anything to do with show business. They're so cool. But then they'll do something like that. And you go, they kind of do want to do something. They want to entertain at least.
Yeah.
But everything he does is cool.
I really liked was it a Showtime special or HBO?
Showtime? Yeah.
I really liked your Showtime special.
Oh, thank you.
And it was, I've talked about it in this podcast. It was like there's only one way for comedy to go. Like I think the day of bits, it's kind of done. You kind of, at some point it has to evolve into everyone just kind of talking about themselves, and that'll separate everybody.
Yeah.
And you
Fortunately
were
for
so
me.
honest.
Well, that's all I have. I feel like, I've watched I watched Greg Fitzsimmons the other night. He had a special on, and he's such a technician, and he's so good at structuring bits and jokes and things, and concise, and he doesn't mispronounce words. And I'm not, to me, the thing I have going is I got to be honest. Tell the story, maybe from my point of view, whatever they are. And plus the audience knows, as you know, they can tell if you're dishonest, period.
Yeah.
But if they also know a little bit of your history, and if you could kind of lay out what they already know, and then, oh, by the way, this is what happened, and you don't look like a jerk because you're not picking on your ex-wife or picking on this person or whatever, but you tell it in an honest way, I think they appreciate it, I hope. Because if it was just a stand-up and joke, I'd be in trouble.
Yeah, I don't really know anybody that doesn't like you. And I think it's because you've been through the ringer and you've been open about your like addictions and honest about like things you fucked up personally. And I think America loves somebody that just goes, yeah, I just completely fucked up and I'm sorry.
Right.
And I'm here. But you work hard. Like on Best Damn Sports Show, that's the thing. And I think that's the Iowa roots.
Right.
That Midwest, like, no, man, let's get to work.
Right.
And I think people really like that.
Well, I worked at a Hormel meatpacking plant for 3 years. You do that, and what a job. Like that's you got to show up and you got to work.
Story from your special.
And you're sweating, and
So
and
funny.
that's why I always feel the Best at Sports Show. I used to sweat a lot because I felt like I was working. It was great,
Yeah.
And I think you owe that. And if you go into this business, I mean, show business wasn't your first job. You've done.
Oh, Tom, see, me and Mason Reese, we had a comedy team when we were kids at Temple Shalom in Cedar Grove, New Jersey.
Yeah.
Hormel meatpacking plant, it just sounds disgusting.
It is, but it was the best job in Ottumwa, Iowa. It was so hard to get that job. I was out of high school, and I said to my dad, he ran a factory that made industrial knives for, like corn shucker combines and things like that. Everything's farm related. And I said, Dad, will you hire me? And he said, no. And I said, why? And he said, because I'll have to fire you. But if you get Louis Dudica down there at Hormel to hire you, I'll hire his kid at Lund Products. And so that's how it happened. And my grandpa had worked there 50 years. This was the job. There was health benefits. It paid like $7.50 an hour at the time. It was an amazing job. It was horrible because you slaughtered 5,000 animals every day and there's no windows. So you got to make your own fun too. It makes you more creative.
Hold on a second. Hold on. No windows.
There's no windows. You know, you start thinking about that. It's a pretty dark and dismal
You
place.
would think if you're building a slaughterhouse, you go, we'll probably need a place for the air to go.
In the old, it was next to Morel Meat, which was this grand old slaughterhouse, and this new Hormel built, and Hormel had no windows. Morel's had windows. My grandpa had windows to work with.
Probably no windows so nobody can hear the screams.
Well, they also don't want people looking in. You cannot get inside a meatpacking plant.
Really?
You could get in the Pentagon with a camera somehow, but not in a meatpacking plant. There are laws protecting them, you know, because the stuff that goes on there, it might ruin things. I participated. Man. I mean, just the regular comings and goings, the job. You know, people should know what's in their food or how they get it.
You're not a vegan,
no.
are you?
Absolutely eat meat all the time.
Yeah, me too.
And I know the whole thing. I know not to go buy meat from a place that's about to go on strike. You know, if there's a labor unrest, because there's always some idiots in there that are fucking with the meat, you know what I mean, or doing something weird to it, and it cleans up, and you can wash it off. But you know,
cleans up nice.
These guys that do these jobs have to create their own fun. I'm going to tell you right now, and it involves a lot of things. And you know,
Uncle Dan, who's been on this podcast, worked at a slaughterhouse, and he said he worked, I forget some name in like Worcester, Mass. And one guy shoots the cow in the head with a .22.
Right.
Another guy slits its throat. Mm-hmm. A third guy has to hold a bucket and catch all the blood. Is he making that up? Because I think he's putting me on.
Here's the deal. My first job was in livestock. My nickname was Gunner. And if a hog had a broken leg or something and they couldn't walk out, there's a chute. You got kind of a ramp you go up, and you herd them in there. And if they had a broken leg, they couldn't walk up the ramp. They get to the top of the ramp. This sort of thing comes down on their back and electrocutes them. And they drop down. They're stunned. And then a guy who has the best job in the plant lifts them up by their back left hoof, puts a chain on them, gets them up in the air, and sticks them. He's called a sticker. He has his knife. It's the sharpest knife there. You have to hit him right here in this artery, and you have to be a perfect job. If the blood doesn't come out immediately, you know, it stays in him and it gets gamey. So this sticker, but if they had a broken leg and couldn't walk up the ramp, then I came in. They'd say Gunner, and I'd shoot him in the back behind the ear here, and it was a bolt gun 22. So just the 22.
Javier Bardem had in the movie,
right? And that your uncle had. It's a bolt gun where a bolt comes out about 4 inches into the back of their brain. And so the shell, you aren't actually firing a bullet. It's just a shell. And then they drop down. And then you have to drag them over and hang them up by the chain. You know, it makes it more complicated.
I guess I'm like so opposite vegan and so un-PETA that when you describe pigs getting yoked up and stabbed and electrocuted and pulled backwards by their feet, I just think it's hilarious, and I can't wait for bacon.
Here's the thing. And I love bacon. I'm a Jew. I love bacon. I'll never give that up. But I have to say this. Guys that abuse the animals. Now, I don't think anything I just said was abusive to an animal. I think it's the proper. I absolutely don't.
Electrocuted it by dropping a ceiling.
That's the most humane way, is to electrocute them or shoot them in the back of the head.
They're getting whacked.
But guys will beat on them before that stuff. I've seen it. And these guys at farms, at these factory farms that beat the crap out of animals, they're already going to die.
This is amazing.
It's horrible. And even and they have laws in Iowa where you can't film inside a factory farm because they will show these people beating up animals.
What do you mean, like punch them in the ribs?
Hitting them with sticks and punching them and kicking them in the uterus or udders. And they're just these people need to be killed. I mean, we already know what the process is for these animals. They live a couple years. This happens, but you have to treat it with respect.
But what?
And then you slaughter them.
Uterus? Yeah, a kidney punch.
Or their nuts. I did that one. This is something I regret. We had once in a while some old farmer, some old cracker would come in there with his pickup with like a 600 or 700 pound boar in it. We wanted 250 pound pigs, all of them mandatory, the same on semis. An old farmer would come in livestock, and he'd say, "What will you give me for this?" And we'll take anything. Eventually, we sold it to a Pizza Hut for their pepperoni. That was the worst meat you could get.
Hold on.
Yeah,
you sold pigs. That a guy sells you a pig off the back of his truck.
Right.
You in turn sell the pig to Pizza Hut.
Yeah, right.
Pizza Hut gives you pepperoni.
Right.
Like, here's
made
a
out
pig.
of that pig.
Oh, I think that they paid you for the pig and pepperoni.
No, I wish. I wish. So what we do is I have this idiot, this old, I make him get the boar, which we didn't like anyway. I get him on the scale. They have a big scale, and this boar has tusks. It's got full hair everywhere. It's a vicious. It hadn't been around humans for a long time, so it was moving around and pounding himself up against it. It wouldn't lay still, so I could weigh him. And one of my coworkers, this is documented, got up in front of him, and the boar got behind him with his tusk and cut the back of his leg and cut that artery, and the guy bled out. So the next time a boar came in like that, we were ready for him. Next boar starts banging. I get up behind him with a metal bar. His nuts are about 4.5 feet off the ground. Great big, giant ass nut sack. It's just banging in. I get behind there and just smash it with this iron bar, and it just shrivels. And he sits still, and we got the weight, and then we killed him. Now, I regret doing that.
And then you kill him.
Yeah. I should have done it to the one that killed my friend instead of taking it out on the other ones.
I like it better that you take it out on the other one because you let the one that killed your friend know you're on thin ice. Look what we did to your friend.
Killed that one too, but we didn't abuse it. But I don't think you definitely should not abuse.
Hey, you need to fucking sit still. We're trying to kill you.
Oh, we try. Yeah, I get that. And from then on, everybody, I think word got out. And so, but I do see why people get, because you're dealing with these animals all the time, and you get sloppy, and you get careless, and you get mean to them, and you forget they are beings.
Yeah.
But I don't. The people that abuse animals are the worst scum on earth.
I agree. I take a lot of shit on Twitter because I think people should go human first, and I say if you're going to rescue a cat, make sure you show
agree with that
Make
too.
sure you show it to a homeless veteran wearing a Karl Malone Laker jersey, laying in his own piss. Going,
Right.
Look, she doesn't itch anymore.
Right.
And I'm sure that guy will think you're doing God's work.
Right.
And people on Twitter are like, it's not either or, man. And I'm like, I know it's not either or. It's fucking comedy.
But out here in California, they're especially bad. You won't see that as much in Iowa or a real place. But with this animals, and my wife is a little bit like that. If her 20-year-old mini poodle needed a liver transplant, she would, if it was $100,000,
I would give the mini poodle my liver.
Right. I give a part of it.
I don't know if it's a match, but I would certainly.
You'd look good doing it.
But as long as somebody's punching the elderly out in an old folks'
Right.
home,
That's true.
Then I don't really care about a boar getting his nuts whacked with a fucking crowbar by Tom Arnold.
Right. And
Tom
there was a
Arnold.
reason. It wasn't
More
just like I thought of
stories.
it.
We just jumped right out the back of the plane like Army Rangers. This is the best.
I know. It's
You
horrible.
are a
I'm sorry.
dream guest. No,
I'm
this
sorry.
is the dream guest. I don't have any fucking look. All I have is TomArnoldComedy.com written down and at Tom.
I
Arnold
am so
written
glad to be here because I love you, and you called me this winter, and we were having a difficult pregnancy. I don't know if you remember calling me and saying I would like you to do the show, and I was like, let's figure this out. And at the time, we were back and forth to the doctor every day, and I'm glad we finally got this worked out
me
because
too.
people usually call my publicist.
Yeah.
And I don't know if
that's where dreams go to
right.
die.
But here's the reason.
Publicists.
I'll give you an example. Last winter, anytime you do Howard Stern, as soon as you do that, first of all, you sell your comedy shows out, but also every other person wants to book you. So I get a call. I'm in New York, just did Howard Stern, and an old friend, Jeff Cesario,
He was just here.
Oh, was he? Okay.
2 episodes ago.
He was. I wish I'd have told this story. He was executive producer of Russell Brand show.
Yeah.
I love Russell Brand. I think he's funny, right? Nice guy. He writes me and says, "Hey, would you come on? We go live. Let's say February 8th. Will you come on? Pop in sometime down at Fox?" I said, "Sure." Next day, I get an email. "Hey, I'd like to book you on the 7th." I go, "Oh, get a hold of here's Stacey Wolf, my publicist. Let's make this firm. Let's firm this up. Whatever." Nothing triggers in my head at this time. Then it comes to the date at the end of February. And I'm getting ready to go the morning doing that show. And I write to my publicist, what day will this air? Because I'm doing live dates. And I want to go on a show. Like, when does this thing air?
This?
Yeah.
2 weeks.
Okay. It's not like 6 months. Okay.
Right.
So I just like to know, is it going to be a reasonable amount of time? And they say, oh, we don't know when it airs. And it gets back to me, well, this is sort of a practice show because he's going from a half hour to an hour. And all of a sudden it dawns on me, I'm just doing a practice show.
Yeah.
I said, so I called Jeff Cesario. I said, buddy, I didn't realize you made me think it was a live show because you said, will you come on live with us? But I guess if I'd have notice you said February 8th and you asked me February 7th, it was a miscommunication. Jeff wouldn't do anything sneaky like that. He said, no problem. We'll grab somebody to do this practice show. And I think, well, that's great. And I said, I'd love to do the show sometime when it really airs. Yeah. And so 2 days later, I had a meeting at FX with the Landgraf and the head guys. And I get a call from my agent. They canceled the meeting. They are so mad at you for canceling on Russell Brand at the last minute.
His first guest was Anthony Anderson.
Right.
And then his second guest was Kathy Griffin.
Right, but I was even doing the practice show.
Right.
So and I don't know Russell Brand. If he'd have called me personally, if you'd have called me and said I got to do
Thomas,
a show.
we're all different vibrations in the same frequency.
Right, exactly.
To spread love.
Exactly.
I love Russell Brand.
Yeah. Well, he does something. He does his own thing. But anyway, the bottom line is, I thought I was being nice by saying I'd help everybody out, and then I said come back, and they're so mad at me. They don't. And I had a relationship with them from Sons of Anarchy and Fox Sports, and they're so mad, and I had to go through like 3 weeks of. And then I just showed them the emails. I said, well, I didn't cancel. In fact, if Jeff Cesario said, oh, my God, I'm in deep shit, you need to come down here, they're counting on, I would have showed up in a minute. But it's how you try to do something nice, miscommunication.
Do you know who they got for the test show?
Oh.
No, I don't know.
No. I thought you were going to say, yeah, I did it.
No.
No.
I would have said.
But they go, it was a disaster. But
I like the show. I was surprised they canceled it. It didn't cost much. It was just a group of people in a room, and his guests were like somebody from the meditation gardens that meditates.
Is that true?
Yeah, they stopped having celebrity guests entirely, and he would literally have like
that's a good
he'd
idea.
have on like a yogi,
right,
and like a conspiracy theorist, and he would always have they had a Jetstream trailer on the soundstage, and every show there'd be a homeless person. From the moment they got in there in the morning, the homeless person stayed in the Jetstream trailer, and they just kept the camera on him. He would just go, "Are you doing all right?
Oh, that's a good idea.
Are you doing okay in there? Everything good?"
Yeah, that's to show that he's a humanitarian.
I guess, but I think he really is.
Yeah,
I mean, he takes a lot of shit for like Shagger of the Year, and
right?
Married to Katy Perry, but I think he's really, really good inside.
Right. Although now he probably hates me because I ruined his show, and I haven't even met the guy.
I don't think he's capable of hate.
I bet I could make people hate. I've had people mad at me, like Julia Louis-Dreyfus from a long time ago, who is the best there is, who people adore, and then she decides she's going to be mad at me from something that happened many years ago. It's an old story where she parked in my parking spot. I didn't know it was her car. I wrote, "What the fuck is wrong with you parking in my parking spot?" She comes out of Seinfeld is shooting next door to my old show, Jackie Thomas. The security guard says, "Oh, we found out who parked in your spot, and it's Julie Louis-Dreyfus." I go, "Oh, that's no problem," because somebody had continued to park in my spot. I said my name. So I walk out. They go, "She wants to talk to you." So I leave the set, go out there, and she goes, "Oh, hey." And I go, "Don't worry about it, Julie. No problem. I'm whatever." She goes, "Oh, I'm offended." I go, "You're offended?" She goes, "Yes, by your note." I go, "Well, I'm offended that you parked in my spot with my name on it. I didn't know it was your car. But I'm offended by that." And it became this huge thing. And Jason Alexander kind of stepped up. And I'm like, okay,
did you know he's a black belt?
Yeah, I don't care if he's a black belt.
No, but did you know that?
Yeah, I know he's a black belt.
Right.
I don't give a shit if he's a black belt.
Yeah, he's a black belt.
It means nothing to me. And so these guys, so it became a huge scandal that we were sharing equipment with Seinfeld. That ended. They made a joke about it on the Oscars. And I became the asshole because I wrote a funny note about, well, what happened too was my wife at the time, Roseanne, was filming the show. She heard about what happened with Julie Louis-Dreyfus. She gets up.
Roseanne
Arquette it has John Goodman take a picture of his naked ass and goes and finds her car, Julie Louis-Dreyfus. This is what I loved about her. And she takes a Polaroid of John Goodman's ass, puts it on her windshield, and writes Julia Louis-Dreyfus on it with soap. So that escalated it. We were such white trash. But, when your wife defends you.
Look, maybe it's the Jersey in me, but the fact that I have a parking spot, I negotiated into my deal. I drive onto the lot. I've got my own show. I'm kind of hot shit. You're hot shit too. You probably have your own parking spot, Julia Louis-Dreyfus. This one says Tom Arnold. The letters don't even sync up. So
Clint Eastwood had just took his pickup and
fucking crazy about his parking spot.
But if I'd have known it was her car, I wouldn't have written the note. But I thought it was just some random crew guy parking in my spot. I'm going to write a note this time. And so.
But I think she's disrespectful. I think if that said like, whatever, Robert Redford or, I don't know, Gary Shandling, I don't think she parks in the spot.
That's
I
really
think it's
true.
specifically that it's you.
Good point.
She goes, what, he's going to fucking complain? It's Tom Arnold.
Yeah.
It's like that, and I think that is disrespectful. And that's why, and you know this, anytime someone's yelling at you, they're really just yelling what they hate about themselves.
Right.
So she knows she was in the wrong, so she just got to get ahead of the cart. She can't unring the bell.
And it also could have ended right there without her wolf pack behind her. And she could have said, "Oh, it's a miscommunication."
They want to fight. Fucking bunch of dopes.
Jack
What's
Nicholson
the deal
came-
with your lean right?
Jack Nicholson came up to me and said, well, first of all, I saw Seinfeld. After that, he goes, we don't have a problem doing it because he's a very non-involved. He's very nice. And then Jack Nicholson is at the People's Choice Awards. And he goes, hey, what is this deal? Is it? I do a terrible impression. Is this a joke? Is it supposed to be funny? And I go, well, yeah, it was funny because he goes, well, you better make it funny. I go, what the fuck? This is a beloved woman, this Julia Louis-Dreyfus. Oh, my God. So see, it's those little things in our business where people pick up on something and then it becomes a...
Like when the tabloids will make fun of a celebrity because they have like a huge trailer, like Ashton Kutcher's trailer on 2.5 Men is 2 stories. It's where, like, he kind of fucking earned it because he negotiated it. And they said,
That's
sure,
right.
like, don't hold it against the fucking guy, you idiots. That's just, like Jennifer Love Hewitt had a big trailer. Nobody aired her out on the set of Ghost Whisperer. We're all in like honey wagon smelling each other's shit through the tiny walls with Indian art. There's always like a fucking picture of a teepee and like a baby and like a little moccasin blanket. Like that's the universal
dentist art.
Dentist art is good too. Dentist art always has some weird clown or a vase. But I don't. Do you know this? But I don't know if Matty Boy knows it. At the Real Hey Matty. I don't know if you know Clint Eastwood's parking spot. He's okay. You worked with Clint?
No.
Nothing bothers this man. Nothing. Like you show up to set, he expects you to be prepared, so all the pressure's on you because he's like, there's no rehearsal, you're hired, I'll see you in San Francisco in 4 days. Let's do it. He doesn't say action, he goes, and then whenever you guys are ready, we're ready for it. Everything's lit up. So the one thing with Clint Eastwood, I guess it's Warner Brothers where his parking spot is right by the door.
Right.
It says Clint Eastwood. And he'll take like a private jet from, San Francisco, Northern California, and he gets in his private car and he goes to the lot and his cars, and if someone's in his spot, he goes to his trunk, he takes a baseball bat out, and he just fucking brains.
That's absolutely true.
Windshield. He'll go in he goes psycho.
Oh, that's great.
He takes like a desk out and throws it to the fucking sunroof. And I'm like, what a dick. And then one of his producers explained it to me like, he doesn't really want anything.
Yeah.
Like, you're on the set now. Like, he's just, have you heard him raise his voice? And I'm like, yeah, like the guy's one thing.
He's a pretty great guy.
Don't take my spot.
Everybody has one. Some people have a million things.
Yeah.
Like Michelle Pfeiffer, I heard this story that people were so upset because she's such a lovely woman. And she came to the set one day. Every day she had a bagel, and that's it, and coffee and a bagel. And they had it for her. That was her only request. She's starring in a movie. One day they come, and they don't have the bagel, the person. And she had a meltdown, and she cried. I get that, though, because if that's your one freaking thing, and you've gone out of your way for everybody else at everything, and you aren't demanding, then... you get
anybody listening to this podcast that has a job, you walk into your office, somebody moves shit around, and you go, who moved what? Hey, where's my chair? What?
Right.
It's just that on a level, but you're dealing with psychopaths, actors, and people that go look at meat for a living.
Yeah.
And how many of you have gone into the fucking break room at work and gone, have you guys seen my red pen?
Yeah.
Where the fuck is my red pen? It was right here.
Yeah.
It was, and there's staples all over the floor. Why are there staples on the carpet?
Yeah.
Your special was great. I loved you in Hit and Run. That Dax Shepard directed. But by the way, Dax Shepard, good chops, good directing.
Very good.
And here's how you know a good director is when you can take a guy that's like, I've met that. I don't know. I'm not going to say I know him like a Hollywood douchebag, but I've met him very friendly, very sweet.
Very nice, yeah.
But he's not a guy that you see in an alley and go, stay clear of Dax. He's going to fucking kick the shit out of you. He's just a sweet guy.
Uh-huh.
But in the movie, he wrote for himself and directed himself as a guy that when he looks you in the eye at the Frosty Freeze and goes, I think you might want to take a step back. Everybody goes, eesh, and backs up because it's scary, and it's completely believable.
But I have to say this about Dax. I know him real well. He is one of the – he's been in – you hear actors talk about fighting. He's had many ago. He's actually a tough guy.
There's that great scene where he's in his car just revving the engine in the parking lot, and somebody comes up to like just talk shit, like Latino guys come up and talk shit about the car.
Yeah.
He just tells them basically like, why don't you get the fuck away from me? I don't know what he said.
Yeah, I know exactly.
And they're like,
to Dave Koechner, actually. He was asking about the horsepower.
Yeah. Oh, fuck, I like Koechner.
But Dax
was here a couple weeks ago as well.
Yeah, I love Koechner.
You're a good company here, brother. We got you back.
I know, man. Everybody's been in your garage.
Dax, it's true. And in me.
Yeah.
That's the parting gift, is the closing shot.
Oh,
My
that's
Instagram
nice.
account is just a conga line. The guy's fucking
Oh,
me.
that's nice. So I could go first to be better.
No, you're like 88th. You're sloppy 80 seconds. Dax Shepard, Kristen Bell.
Yeah.
Great couple, sweet couple. And that movie opened with like Scorsese. I know I'm exaggerating to clarify. But that movie opened with a shot that was so beautiful. It was just her sleeping.
Yeah.
And it was shot like... It didn't even fit the rest of the movie.
No, it didn't.
It was almost like the film, like his student film was that.
Yeah.
And then he just did a fun, like, chase crazy movie around it. But just her laying in bed so beautiful and clean and innocent and pure, and him just staring at her and realizing, like, I want to be with this person the rest of my life.
And I think that comes from their real, obviously he wrote it, he directed it, but there's something real there about their relationship, and then it gets all crazy.
And did you guys shoot that like Solvang or something?
Something like that. It was horribly hot and fucking miserable.
And you were just chasing around.
Fucking miserable.
And you were a gay guy, right?
Yeah. Well, it turned out I was gay. Yeah. Dax wrote it.
Always? That's how it works. You know.
Yeah. But Dax is about halfway through the movie. He's so excited to be there. I mean, you like a director that's happy to be there. And I was standing there, and he goes, "You're not having fun." I go, "No." Not at all.
Why not?
Not at all. It just was he asked me a question. I gave an honest answer. It was hot. I had to share a fucking trailer with Michael Rosenbaum, who was fucking washed his socks and put them in the sink. I took all of his shit and threw it out. Everybody else was so happy to be there and so excited. It was a bad. I was having, I was
Why
in
is
character.
He washing his socks in the sink?
I don't know why I don't know why he was even in my thing. It's one of those things where your buddy's doing it, he's producing it, let's work. But when we started the movie, Nate Tuck, his producing partner, comes up and goes, "Hey, come here. We're going to work 8-hour days. Is that okay with you?" I go, "Fucking right, that's okay with me. That's good.
No lunch, just French hours?
Whatever it takes, 8 hours." And I go, "Yeah, if everybody else is for it." Then I found out he meant we're going to say we worked 8-hour days. We're going to work 16 hours. But we're going to write on the time card that we worked 8 hours. Whatever.
Wacky shit. Oh, so you don't have to tell SAG.
So I don't have to pay. Yeah, exactly.
It's probably for the turnaround. They pushed everybody's turnaround.
That's exactly what it was.
And for the listener, when you're an actor, one of the best, aside from the health insurance, I would say the second best thing that the Screen Actors Guild has ever done is the 12-hour turnaround.
That is absolutely.
That is a stroke of fucking genius.
They, I swear, would fuck us over every time.
They'd say, "Sleep in the trailer.
Right.
We're going to get back to you in about an hour.
Take a nap." That's absolutely true.
But if you rap, you know this, but if you rap at 9 o'clock at night, they cannot by law bring you back until 9 o'clock in the morning.
Right.
And sometimes they'll come to you hat in hand.
Yes.
And it's the most amazing moment when some fucking producer has to go, "Hey, can I talk to you?"
This guy has been an asshole to you the whole
There's
time.
only one reason these people will talk to you.
That's right.
And it's either you're parked in Clint's spot and you no longer have a car because he put a Molotov cocktail through it, or will you come in at 7?
Yeah.
Instead of we're really behind. And you just go, and I hope you do the same thing. You're like, "No.
Yeah.
Nah."
I go, "Hey, did you call my agent on this?"
I'd love to.
Or
my agent's
what
a
I do
dick.
is I make a deal. Well, then get fucking Rosenbaum out of my trailer. It's going to be different. I mean, I'll come in for you if you do something for me. But I also don't say yes because if it was an emergency, Jim Cameron came and say, "We need to work 20 hours in a row." You would say, "Okay, probably." But if you look at everybody else, and
Does
you say,
that happen on?
It happened towards the end of it, but of True Lies. But that happens. It's not like it was just me working. It was a crazy whole
Tom,
crew.
we just didn't get to you, buddy.
Yeah,
we're going to do 20 hours.
That happened a lot. And that was the lesson, like on day 5, where Arnold says, "Yeah," because I was coming in when I thought they would need me. They'd say, "Be in at 7 a.m." I noticed they weren't using me till noon. So I came in, started coming in later. Arnold's like, "Whoa, the first time I fucking did that, they needed me at 7 a.m. And that was a big mistake. So try not to do that.
What was that, fucking Mr. Olympia 2? Relax, Arnold.
Exactly.
Jesus Christ. Not like you did it.
He passed out a lot of advice that he never used.
Listen. It was sometimes I train, I don't work tries properly. I don't know who that was. That was my Syrian terrorist.
Yeah, it was.
Listen, come in on time or it's illicit, Merlin. So True Lies, they always come to you hat in hand like, could we just eat? First they go.
The point is that they're not nice to you until that. I mean, they're kind of dicks to you anytime you need something. But when they come hat in hand, they really are genuinely nice to you.
Yeah.
And it's a weird feeling. Because part of you is like, oh, I wanted him to be nice to me the whole time. Maybe he'll be.
And I just want to be friends with, like, yeah. We're so pathetic for attention.
Of course we are.
But this guy that's been a fucking dick.
It's all forgiven.
Goes,
just be a nice
hey, man, how you doing? You're like, good. Why? What's going on?
Yeah.
We need you at 3 a.m. tomorrow.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
Like, yes. Jamie Lee Curtis needs some sleep.
Right.
So
yeah.
Push your call up.
Yeah.
When you worked with Jamie Lee Curtis, was she constantly talking about yogurt and shitting?
This was, the great thing about her. First of all, this is before, I'm sure she shit then, but this is a while ago. But she is like have you ever been on the set with somebody that's beloved by the crew? Yeah. Like, she's so connected and they're having fun and she's showing them her tits and they liked her so much more than they like you and it's really obvious. Like, even if, they liked her more than they liked Arnold. It was because she really bonds with people and eventually start resenting that.
Well, once you start taking tits out, it's
that's really true.
That's not fair.
That's really true. And this was her tits in 1993, 94.
Yeah, 48-hour tits.
Yeah,
or Trading Places tits.
Trading Places. Yeah, and she's a good chick. Yeah,
that was the set. The Trading Places tit shot when she's trying to get Dan Aykroyd to cheer up.
Yeah,
that as a 12-year-old
chewing the gum.
I was like, whoa, that exists.
Yeah. And John Landis is such a pervert, too. He was directing that movie. And I'm sure I love John Landis. He's a great guy. But he's a bit of a perv, He's not like one of these directors that's sort of step back, I'm sure he was involved in that heavily.
So can I just rearrange the tits in the light, make them nice? So they all like Jamie Lee Curtis on the set.
Everybody loves her. It's like she's like Robin Williams. Everybody on the set loves Robin Williams.
Everybody in the world loves Robin Williams.
That's true.
But he's not telling me to eat yogurt to get my shit right.
That's true. But I wonder how much she makes from that.
A lot.
Is it really all about shitting that yogurt? I haven't even paid attention.
Activia.
Yeah.
It'll make you. I like when it'll make you regular in 6 weeks. I'm like, so will pizza.
It's 6 minutes.
6 weeks. Yeah. 6 minutes.
Is that you paid attention to this?
Yeah. Well, I watch a lot of TV.
Yeah, I do too.
Just sitting around all day.
I do too.
So Hit and Run, I really liked, and I wanted to commend you for your acting.
It was fun.
You're one of these guys. It's like, all you went through with Roseanne and stuff, you were a punchline for a while.
Absolutely.
But you're one of those guys. This is how I've always explained you.
Yeah.
The moment I did Best Damn Sports Show, and I think comics, you just meet each other and you just know each other. You just get it. You speak in shorthand. And I always say, Tom Arnold's one of those guys. Someone will talk shit about him, but the moment you meet him, you'll lay down for the guy. You'll pick him up at the airport, anything he wants. You're just one of the. Look. Anybody listening to this podcast, I do a lot of ball washing on this podcast. But that fucking whacking a boar in the nuts with a steel pipe was fucking worth the price of admission. That was amazing. You've had a few marriages. Now this is the one that's going to stick, and it's great. You get a baby at home.
Yeah.
But not too many guys can go on stage and talk about getting stabbed in the heart by their wife.
That's true. That's true. It was a great opportunity.
But it was over an important thing.
Yeah.
Cake.
It was Jenny Craig chocolate chip cookies that she had. I crushed her chocolate chip cookies, Jenny Craig, because we were on a diet together.
No,
it makes sense if you're on a diet with your wife.
But just to clarify, you didn't crush Jenny Craig's cookies. It was Roseanne's cookies.
Roseanne was eating her Jenny Craig chocolate chip cookies, which we swore we would stop eating. We would eat at the same time, the same amount, so we could make this money on this diet.
Yeah, that's what a good couple
does. And she violated. It's like a sponsor in AA, man. You walk in and a dude's got a crack pipe in his hand. You fucking slap it out of his hand.
Yeah.
I crushed her cookies. Her reaction, it was right over here in Brentwood. Fucking there was a block of knives with there, grabbed it, just stabbed me. And in thinking about it, it makes a lot of sense with this stand your ground law that's out there now. Because technically, a big sweaty guy comes in and crushes your cookies. I mean, you get to stand your ground.
No.
I know that now.
You're still apologizing for that crazy behavior.
Right. True. But I also feel like.
But that's what you did as a kid, as I bet, for your parents.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
That's where it comes from.
Well, my mother did not raise me. She took off. Until Ashley, I'd never been in a relationship with a woman over 4 years. Like, I always had long-term girlfriends, wives, 4 years. And so with Ashley, we went through that. I'm not saying that that's because of my mom leaving, but a psychologist. Yeah. Because when your mom leaves like that, you also know that anything is possible. Like, the shit could hit the fan at any moment in any way in your life.
How old were you when she left?
I was 4.
Oh, my God.
And so you think, well, when other people say, well, this isn't going to happen, you go, well, actually, it could happen. Anything could happen.
Do you know where she went?
She stayed in our town. She was married 6 more times after my dad. I went, I remember going looking for her, and I walked to where I thought, this is when I was 4, you have to understand. Oh. And I walked across town and beat on this door, and it was, she was on the couch in an awkward position with this, who would become my stepfather eventually.
Oh, so you found her?
Yeah, I found her. But then she told me to go home and whatever. But I occasionally found her.
She was like fooling around with a guy?
Yeah. And it's awkward. It's awkward. But it also, I always felt like I was young enough that, if it had happened later, it might have, but it wasn't so bad.
Or you would have stabbed the guy in the heart for crushing your mom's cookie.
Oh, I'm sure that affected a lot of things. But my dad was awesome, who stayed with us. 22 years old, has got 3 kids, 4, 3, and 1. My mom was 16. You have to. It was a different.
Oh, I know.
My sister was 14 when she got married. I mean, it was a very white, trashy type of family.
It's like Little House on the Prairie.
Yeah, but I have to say something about you. Here's what endeared me to you. I've always respected what you do performing, but I was on a plane once, and you were in front of me, and your wife. Now, it may not have been your wife at the time, but she came on the plane, and she got up to use the restroom, and you turned around to me and goes, "Oh my God, my wife is so fucking beautiful." And you with a smile on your face. And it was so endearing because you actually meant it. It's not like a comic saying to a comic, check out my fucking wife. It's like, I can't believe how fucking lucky I am that this woman loves me. And you meant it 100%, and you weren't doing it to be cool or to be funny or nothing. And I said, that I got to get. That, and it also made me say, this guy, because it's uncool to do that on a fucking plane. Yeah. You're not doing it to make yourself look.
I'm glad you quantified it with me not going like, guess who I'm fucking.
No. It was like, I can't believe it that this beautiful woman, and it wasn't bragging because first of all, it was sort of loud and it wasn't one of those creepy, hey buddy, guess what? It was genuine. And I thought, now that's a real deal.
Did I have a little scroll that I unrolled?
Exactly.
Hear ye.
Exactly.
I remember the first time I was ever associated with you was a complete misprint in the New York Times. I was on a plane, and they said I was at your bachelor party at Scores.
Oh, right, the one that Farley had.
Yeah, and I wasn't there, and they spelled my name wrong.
Oh, my God.
And it was Moore, and I'm like, what the at least spell my name right, page 6.
Right.
And I was like, I'm in page 6, but not really.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, Tim Arnold was at Scores. And you're like, I kind of made it, but I didn't. Yeah. That would have been so cool. And it was you and Farley and Spade.
Well, it said Tim Meadows was there, too. But I have a Persian friend. And they mistake me for Tim Meadows, I swear. But Farley, it was one of those best parties where, Farley gets up, he makes a speech, and then everything's going fine except trying to figure out who pays for what, which really shouldn't be the groom's thing. But Farley got an argument with Spade or whatever. They're arguing. And
shut up, David.
Shut up. And next thing I know, Farley runs up on stage because he has to top everything that happens, including the performers. He gets naked.
And shows his pussy.
He showed it all.
Yeah.
And we were kicked out because that's one thing they won't allow is a naked man getting up on stage in front of everybody.
Didn't I tell you, don't put your hands on the women?
Yeah, that's...
were you close with Chris?
I was.
When I was on Saturday Night Live, it was the 2 years he was completely sober.
Yeah. He had 2 years. And it
so
was great because we had the same
beautiful.
sober birthday. And I remember at the end of his 2 years, that day, I called to say, hey, dude, happy birthday, brother. Lauren Michaels, nobody answered. SNL, I call out there, and then Lauren Michaels calls me back. He goes, I got some bad news. I go, what? He goes, he's been in his dressing room weeping all day. He went off the wagon. Whatever. I just want to tell you. And, I always respected Lauren Michaels.
I was just going to say, that's cool, man, of Lauren.
It was very cool. And
he knew who was important.
Yeah. It was very, and Lauren, people think of him as sort of an elitist, and I guess he is in some ways, but...
How could you not be? You created Saturday Night
Live. I agree.
Live.
But he also...
You're going to be this fucking blue-collar man of the people? Fuck that. Give my house in the Hamptons.
But he grew up more blue-collar than you know.
Well, he's Toronto. Who knows?
He would always say,
Draft dodger.
Farley grew up in a sort of a wealthy family, which, his dad was a big in the contractor business. And
literally... One of the largest
750 pounds.
Yeah, that's not exaggeration.
No, and for Chris to have, I'm not blaming anybody, but that example, of his father that's an alcoholic and obviously a food issue, and Chris is trying to control both, and he also sees his future. They went to Pritikin together, him and his father, they're doing this thing. They're going to get it together, healthy eating, healthy living. His father checked out after one day and left Chris there. Now, I'm not judging anybody, but as a father, you're a father. I mean, that's about as low as you can get.
Chris, that was one of the greatest losses ever. And I know there's like, and I put Chris in the same categories like Joplin, Hendrix.
Sure.
There's nothing, you will never in 1,000 lifetimes be able to talk me away from the fact that Chris was as much as a rock star as Cobain, Janis Joplin.
Yeah.
This fucking guy, when he walked in a room,
that's right.
Over.
Right.
Game over.
Right.
And there was no bass player.
Right.
Dave Grohl wasn't on drums.
Right.
Pat Smear from the Germs didn't come in and play a little rhythm guitar. It was just Chris going, "How are you?"
Yeah.
Murmur. Spades gay. That was his pattern.
Right.
I don't know if Matty Boy knows this, but any sketch like a courtroom where people are like hubbub, like talking, and right before the gavel break, you got to do like just make shit up.
Yeah.
And his was, he would real loud go, "Murmur, murmur, spades gay."
That's great. No peas and carrots?
No, it wasn't peas and carrots.
He did an impression of me, and that crazy Victoria Jackson, who turned out to be crazy, was Roseanne.
Yeah, she went real crazy.
And that I saw that, and we called him up, and I got to, and Lauren said, "Hey, you should meet this guy. He's having some issues too." So because he did this great impression on SNL, we got to know him, and it was a good thing.
What
was Victoria Jackson crazy? Always?
I know she was never fucking funny always.
Right.
I remember as a kid watching Saturday Night, and I don't take that out because I don't give a shit. Because
who gives a shit? She's horrible. She's a terrible person.
And A. Whitney Brown was never funny.
Yeah.
And he had, apparently in hindsight, there was some,
there was definitely.
Yeah. And then you watch it and you go, oh, okay.
Yeah.
And
because Chris Farley didn't come to Saturday Night Live doing heroin.
He just wanted to be like Belushi.
He met people that, he was too close to that, thing. And you can't blame Belushi or blame history. We should know enough to say, well, this is what could happen.
Look, if you go on tour with the Stones and Keith's doing blow and you're the other guitarist, you're just going to do blow.
Right,
it's fucking
right.
Keith. And it's not right. But it's like, hey, man.
Yeah.
If Jimmy Cliff pulls out a joint, you're going to go, you know what? I can just go back to a meeting tomorrow.
Right.
It's Jimmy Cliff.
Yeah. Plus you're in the band. You got to be,
maximum respect. Steve Lillywhite was here, the record producer, and he said, I said, give me the greatest moment of your career. And he goes, smoking a joint with Jimmy Cliff. And he says, in between drags, your last name is Lillywhite. I was like, oh my God. But the way Lillywhite said it was so perfect. And you go, that is kind of bananas and great.
Yeah.
So you're going back out on the road.
I have been, yep.
And how, you do an hour?
Yep, do an hour. I feel like it's such a good opportunity to, because like this is fun doing this with you and stuff. But as you know, on the road, you get to meet, I do this show. And then between shows, and everybody does this, but they sell T-shirts, whatever. I sell T-shirts for my kids' heart camp. I don't care if people buy them. I made it very clear. You don't have to buy these. Money. But it's an excuse. I will literally take a picture with everybody, and the people have these moments where they're like, it could be, hey, I got molested when I was a kid, or whatever. Weird moments that you wouldn't actually get in another situation, or I was an alcoholic, or I did this, or and they aren't all show business related, where I get to have these moments with hundreds of people, that I wouldn't get, I get it in Cleveland and I wouldn't get it here. And I used to hate the travel, and the literal travel I'm not a big fan of, but you go in there and like Cleveland is an example. You meet the guy that runs the club, Nick, and he's a freaking character and he takes such good care of you. If you needed someone to call in the middle of the night and said something horrible happened, he's the guy that would take care of it. Yes. I mean, he's the kind of guy, you don't meet guys like that all the time.
Yeah.
Where you're like, and so it's fun. I enjoy it.
Hey, what's your kid's heart charity?
Okay. We have camp next week. Glad you mentioned. Camp del Corazon. It's a camp for kids that have had.
Camp del Corazon.
Camp of the Heart. Yeah. I didn't know that for the first 4 years
of your camp.
Of the camp, but it's.
What did you? Hold on. What did you think it meant?
I had no idea, and I spelled it, pronounced it wrong, and it all came together when I was staring at the gala one day. I saw the heart, and they're like Corazon. I was like, oh yeah, that's why we call it. I just thought it was named after somebody.
Camp Corduroy, come on by.
Yeah, and so we have kids that have had We have a 7-year-old that's had 2 heart transplants. It's the worst cases of this in the country. We take kids from all over the country, never ask anybody to pay. Hundreds of kids. Our staff is volunteer nurses and doctors. It's
what drew
amazing.
you to heart stuff?
My friend Mike Pasternak, down at Lionsgate Films, did a movie with him and got to know his family a little bit. And his beautiful 16-year-old daughter, they were hiking up here in the Santa Monica Mountains. Perfect health. She gets a virus. Goes to the hospital. All her organs shut down. Everything came back but her heart. So that as a parent, you're freaked. They eventually get her a heart transplant, but the man that saved her life said, I'm involved with this camp. And he investigated. And
this happened to Pasternak?
Yeah. And Stephanie is doing awesome. 10 years later, she's got a full life. She's amazing,
How the fuck? Can you fathom the fact that they can switch out a heart? A fucking heart. And sewing that shit together. You know what freaks me out? When I realize you got to crack the ribs and open it up like a treasure chest to get to the heart. That makes me go, ugh.
But if you worked at a meatpacking plant, you wouldn't find it so weird.
No.
Because you do get just anatomy.
Right before the kid goes on there, I hit him in the nuts with a steel pole. And then they're like, what? And they don't even care about their heart because their nuts hurt so bad.
It does say something about these surgeons. I mean, and doctors and nurses. They do stuff. I mean, I know what we do is hard. But what they do is, how crazy do you have to be to accept that that's what you do for a living? You really do these amazing things.
Those guys are in brain surgeons and shit. How do you know you're not going to make the guy's left leg shrivel up just by cutting into the wrong part of his brain or his eyes don't work anymore? And then you watch the Learning Channel and they're literally sawing off a guy's 138-pound testicle.
Right.
And that's what you're doing with your life? So fuck that guy.
Right.
His giant nut. Join the circus. There's kids out there that need heart transplants. Yeah. What's the how many? Because I know kidneys and livers, one of them can't be replaced. You can have a kidney transplant, right?
Yeah, you can have liver transplant.
You can have liver transplant.
You can have both.
Yeah, absolutely.
And the big thing is is it going to be a match? Is it going to be a match?
Yeah.
We hope it takes. It doesn't reject it. I would think heart would be way more touch and go, but it seems
it seems like it would be, but I think the liver is the most, just my opinion, the liver is the most touchy because of the way my medical opinion, because of what transpires there. The heart, obviously the tissue is important to have some sort of a match, but just what the heart does compared to what the liver does. The heart run stuff through there, and I'm not a mechanic, but the liver has more functions of cleaning and whatever, and so it's just a little bit harder.
Now, Dick Cheney doesn't have a baboon heart? Or
he does have he's got the full machinery, the pump.
The Jarvik heart.
Yeah, and now, he did get the heart. Someone gave him a heart. No, he had Beyond the Jarvik. He had a thing that sits on you.
That's the name of his documentary.
Yeah.
Beyond the Jarvik.
But he had that pump on the outside, that giant pump for a while.
Really? I didn't know that.
Yeah, and you could see it like it was working.
How the fuck did George Carlin not get a heart transplant?
Right.
And we got just people walking around with baboon hearts and Beyond the Jarvik.
Right.
Spaceman hearts.
Right, it's true.
Fez.
It's fucked up.
Spaceman hearts.
And George
Fez.
Carlin's an example of a guy who, we know how brilliant he was. He, he was one of us for quite a while. He got his shit together, his personal life, his, substance abuse, whatever, doing great things, helping other people, anonymously. And then, this heart caught up with him.
Yeah, his daughter, Kelly Carlin, she's got a fun podcast. And she was just saying, her dad's heart for about 20 years was scotch tape and baling wire. It was just, It was a miracle the guy was alive.
Wow, yeah.
I'm like, fuck. If he just, The Who wrote, I hope I die before I get old.
Right.
He definitely died before, even though he was 74,
right.
He died before he got old.
And he was 74. It doesn't seem like he was 74, but I guess he was.
And that guy had 4 specials in him. He wasn't slow. He wasn't like a doddering old man like Bob Hope with his fucking runny eyes.
Yeah. I did a Bob Hope. One of the first things I did when I came out here was a Bob Hope special, and it meant so much to me because my dad, my single dad, the only time I ever heard him laugh was at night if a Bob Hope special was on, I'd be upstairs, and I hear him guffawing. And so that has a visceral, like you say, Bob Hope makes my dad laugh. So coming out here to do the special, and I'm dressed up like Robin Hood, and Roseanne is Maid Marian, and we're doing the lines, and there's a cue card. About halfway through, he goes, "Say, Tom, who is this chick?" And I go, "Oh, that's Roseanne. She's like the biggest star in television or whatever." But he kept forgetting who she was.
Really?
Yeah. But I love Bob Hope. I loved him. I'd forget too. It's not because he's old. Did you ever get to go to his house or anything like that down in Palm Springs, or whatever?
No. You did?
Yeah, absolutely.
So
but his wife sort of engineered everything, I mean, he knew, and Bob Hope was the guy that he would go to the airport towards the end of his life and greet people coming off the plane.
The Bob Hope
Palm
Airport.
Springs. Yeah. But I mean, they'd wheel him out there, and he still needed that, If we needed a tag on Roseanne, he would come in and do the tag, shoot the tag.
Really?
Yeah.
Was there giant cue cards at the airport that said shake this person's hands?
But are we going to be like that where we need that?
I hope not.
Yeah.
I don't think we need it now.
No. But I mean, if we were Bob Hope, like he was the biggest thing, and he's a billionaire.
It's one of those things too, like he was famous for entertaining the troops, and that's gone. Like you can, like guys like Kid Rock will never not do Dave Attell. They'll never not do a USO show. But like back in the day, like you airdropped Marilyn Monroe into a forward operating base, and she's in a fucking gown with her tits pushed up.
Yeah.
She's blowing kisses, and you're just going, nothing's going to happen.
Yeah.
And nothing happened.
Yeah, exactly.
Try that now.
Which is shocking.
Just take fucking, Olivia Munn to Crete. Just drop her out of a helicopter and say, here she. It'd be like the scene in Apocalypse Now, where they're swimming across the moat.
Right.
Let me go with you.
Exactly.
Do you think being married, I know it is, so I'm not even going to ask you and be like douchebag interviewer. Being married to Roseanne after the fact works against you creatively. People, like you become like the guy that was married to Roseanne.
Right.
And then anytime you're in a movie, it's almost like, I would say every time you're in a movie, you remind people, no, like I'm really good at this.
Well, I think there's two things. I was because I met her when I was 23, lived in Minneapolis, just started doing stand-up. She lived in Denver. She wasn't famous yet. This is 1983. She was a headliner. I was the middle act. We hit it off immediately. Like, I loved her comedy. I thought she was very brave and hilarious, and she liked me for some reason. And if a woman likes you and thinks you're funny, I mean, that's half the battle.
That's all we need.
So we would spend a few years. Exactly. That's all we traveled around. I wrote for her. And then when she went on Carson in 85, I'd written a couple of her jokes, which was a huge honor. And so our relationship started out that way. We were my friend, and she was 7 years older. So I thought, because we always say, well, he's older. That's why he's won an Oscar. But I was so proud of her. And then we became more than friends after I came out to write on the Roseanne show. I felt secure that I was writing on that show because she liked my writing. Because I had a little different point of view. I was one of her guys.
Well, hold on. How often on the Roseanne show were your jokes in the show?
They were pretty often because I
and you were there every day. You didn't take any liberties. You were in the writers' room beating the bushes.
Yes, and I worked. Okay. I wasn't in the writers' room at first. I was first couple years, but I worked with the executive producer. I crafted all the stories. I had notes on everything, and Roseanne would have.
And if you slapdicked it, you would look me in my eye right now and tell me like, I kind of fucking jerked off and.
Oh, right. I'd tell you.
Okay.
I'd tell you. No, it was
because I don't think people
great.
know that, Tom.
Yeah.
That's why.
Yeah, I mean, it became harder to stay in the writers' room. In fact, the first time I got a script.
Oh, because if somebody talked shit about her, they knew.
Yeah,
you were
and I kept saying, you can say whatever the fuck you want about her. It's a workplace. You got to be able to bitch about your boss. And so I said, I don't care, and I didn't care. But they're like, can you write this out? Why don't you just write this at home? But I worked on the set a lot, and I had great relationships with the head writers. We beat out all the stories. We, obviously you're beefing up jokes. I obviously wrote scripts too. So I felt, I was a part of the creative process. Matt Williams was the first guy. And he was gone that first year. They did not get along.
Roseanne and Matt Williams did not get along. But he's got the created by credit, so he's paid in perpetuity.
And she should have, yeah. And how does he get created by credit solely based on a character that's based on her act that she's been doing for 10 years?
Because he was smart enough in negotiations to put created by, co-created by, and Roseanne was naive enough to go.
And her agents didn't.
Sure.
And that set the tone. And so she resented that forever.
So right now, he's getting a check for a Roseanne rerun.
Yeah. He made about $300 million from the Roseanne show, at least. Oh. Just judging by what she ended up making. Even though he worked 1 year.
What did she make all in?
I'm sure she's made so far, and it resyndicates at least $150 million or $175 million.
Wait, why would he make $300 million if she made $150
He had a bigger piece at first.
My
we had
God.
to negotiate her piece, and that's something I did too. Was she needs to get more of this and more of this, and because he was partners directly with Carsey Warner. So
there's your answer.
Yeah, and he also wasn't that bum when he got fired. And then we brought in the next guy. And, there's some great guys that worked with, and there was Chuck Lorre, but there was great guys. And the smart one said, hey, I'm going to run this show for about 2 years, and then we're going to get somebody else in here. I hired a lot of my friends. Gave Norm Macdonald his first job.
Oh, my God.
All the Minneapolis guys I brought in.
For Roseanne,
Yeah, exactly. I let him off to do SNL. That was a big thing. Carsey Werner didn't want to let him off when he got that show or got the opportunity. And I said, you have to. This is his dream job. You have to let him off.
Yeah. God,
So
I fucking love Norm. You always hear the stories about Norm being like crazy. Like when you're on the road, they go, Norm Macdonald was here last week, and he get really mad because the guy fucked up his music cues for his finale, his number. And you're like, what?
What?
Like nothing makes sense.
Yeah.
And like Norm Macdonald was here, and he had 14 opening acts, and you could tell they were all really fucking high. And I'm like, I don't think so. And then you see his
simple guy.
Yeah, and then you see his Comedy Central special, which is an A+. It's perfect.
Right.
Like there is somebody heckles him about OJ, and he just goes into his OJ stuff. It's like an 8-minute just ad lib during a special. It's an A+. There's no room for improvement.
Yeah.
And you go, what the fuck is everyone? What do they say when I'm not here?
Exactly.
Like he needed orange Gatorade in the dressing room.
Yeah.
He's a fucking diva. Fuck that guy.
Yeah.
This is my club guy.
Well, they either super love you, or you're an asshole. There's no kind of in between.
Yeah, I just stick to the 8 rooms that love me.
Yeah, but when they tell you, I say, who else was here? And they'll say, oh, we've had everybody. They'll say this great. And I go, who is the biggest asshole? I always want to know that too, with people on any show or anything.
Well, it's always the same guys.
But we're always
Cat
inclined to
Williams,
ask.
Tracy. Well, Tracy, they don't say he's an asshole. They just say it was like dealing with somebody from another planet.
Right. And I always say maybe they were going through a bad
My stomach hurts. I can't go on. I'm like, you're going to cancel the second show? Like, yeah, you got to cancel it. I can't do it. Can I get some more wings? And like Cat Williams are like, he got here the day after.
Yeah, exactly.
He was late. What do you mean he was late?
He was on time for that day. But
he came in it was a Friday, Saturday, Sunday. He came in on Saturday the next day.
Yeah.
And you're like, wow.
He sweats more than me, too. That's a bad sign when you're a little skinny guy.
Yeah, maybe it's the fact he's wearing a fucking Civil War costume on stage. But you know what? When I watch you stand up,
it's hilarious. I love comedians.
My wife goes, "What's he saying? I don't understand what's happening." And I have to translate.
Right. But someone
He's
gets
got
that rhythm.
balls.
Yeah.
He was the only black comic to call out Michael Jackson for being a fucking scumbag child molester in front of a black audience, and that crowd did not take that journey with him. They were like, "Ooh," like they were super uncomfortable. And he's like, look at the kids he molested. Kids with AIDS, motherfuckers with cancer, kids that were fucking retarded, kids that couldn't tell because they were going to be fucking dead. Fuck Michael Jackson. That's nasty. And the crowd was like, whoa. Then he goes, oh, fuck. And he tells the crowd, like, fuck off. It ain't the media. It ain't a setup. Because someone's like, it's a setup, cat. You know, it's a setup. And he goes, hey, man. He goes, if somebody says something about you for 20 years, it's true. He goes, Whitney Houston smoked her kneecaps off. The bitch is a crackhead.
That's true.
But that was balls.
Yeah.
No one took that cow.
Yeah.
No one ever touched that sacred cow of Mike.
That's true.
No one. They're like, hey, Chris Rock did it briefly, like, that, like Michael Jackson's so beloved, like they forgave him for child molestation. They're like, but Off the Wall was good though, man.
It
was a good. It was a good album, man.
Yeah. Have you ever accidentally been racist on stage?
Accidentally?
Yeah.
I'm the tip of the spear. You kidding me?
That's true. I was in
the opening 20 minutes. I do blackface.
I just at Phoenix at
Stand Up Live,
probably, and. The first show, I ad-libbed, it was when this divorce is going on with Kim Kardashian and Chris Humphries. And just you're ad-libbing for a second. And I said, and I remember he sort of did this monkey character where he kind of acted like a monkey on the Kardashian show. And I said, start talking about how big of the stupid fucking monkey he was. And nobody laughed. But I thought, next show I'll do that again. And nobody laughed again. And it was like a dead, like things were going well, then dead. And my wife came up and said, oh my God damn it, you can't see that about him. I go, why? She goes, he's black. I go, no, he's not. Chris Humphries is black. She goes, yes, he's black. I go, I didn't know. I wouldn't have called him a monkey.
Yeah.
Because I just thought he was a big, dumb jock guy.
Dumb monkey.
Yeah. And you can't
I think he's half.
Yeah.
He's like Rick Fox.
Yeah.
but not as good
Rick
looking.
Fox is good looking, man.
He's
that
gorgeous.
motherfucker is
I'd
good
fuck
looking.
the shit out of Rick
No
Fox.
shit.
Straight up.
No shit.
I'll put
He's
my tongue
a
in his
beautiful
mouth.
man.
He was here too.
He has a beautiful wife too. Who was in True Lies.
If you like girls.
Yeah.
Here's the thing about with me on stage doing race. I only talk about race if I'm imitating a black person making fun of white people.
Oh yeah. That's
so
funny.
I have a lot of wiggle room because I'm saying exactly what I've heard people say.
Right.
So anything that they go like, you can't fucking say that. I'm like, no, I'm imitating a guy that actually
that's great.
said it.
Yeah.
Like that's what they said about us.
Yeah.
Like, what are you talking about? I can't say it. I'm imitating Richard Pryor.
Right.
Or not Richard Pryor. I do a whole thing about Def Jam comics and how they make fun of how corny we all are.
Yeah.
Hey, everybody. How are you?
Yeah, exactly.
I'm the white guy. Like, you know who talks like that? Tony Gwynn. That's who talks
true.
like that.
That's really true.
What dates? Do you know where you're going to be like in the fall? Are you just TomArnoldComedy.com? All the dates are there.
Yeah, and I'm doing a few more. I kind of go out. The first 3 months of this year, I went out solid because I knew we were having the baby. Took 3 months off, and now, I don't like to book too far ahead because I'm under the illusion that something big's going to come up, and then I'll miss.
You should be.
Or
just book one thing far ahead.
Yeah.
One weekend. You don't have to go out every weekend of the month.
That's true.
You got a family at home.
That's true.
Last question.
Yeah.
And this is a big one.
Yeah.
In their prime, same weight, Sanderson versus Gable, who wins?
Gable. In their prime.
Same weight. Gable versus...
Mm-hmm.
Really?
Mm-hmm. That's a good question, though, but Gable for sure.
Really?
Yeah.
Just brute strength? How does he beat Sanderson?
It's going
to go down.
Brute strength is a good description. On paper you can't. It's because he's fucking Gable.
Yeah.
I mean, it'd be I'd love to see it, but they're sort of different eras too. So you gotta. But I gotta go with Gable. I just have to. Just he's gristle. I don't know how to explain it. It would have loved to have seen it.
Tom Cruise told me that's the one part he wish he could have played in his life. That's his regret. He's not playing Dan Gable.
Really?
Isn't that amazing?
We got to get him to help us with this video to save for Olympic wrestling.
Do you know how to get in touch with him?
I could try. He knows how to get in touch with me.
Really?
Well, yeah.
Tonight. He'll call you tonight.
Yeah, good.
I'll throw up the Jerry
I would
Maguire
actually. This
alumni.
is something I would feel comfortable asking him. I wouldn't call him up and say, "Hey, you got a movie, and I saw this part." Right. But for this, because we're trying to save Olympic wrestling, that's something that means a lot to him.
You can go to YouTube, Jay Mohr, Save Olympic Wrestling. And, of course, Tom Arnold is putting together something with his friends from Iowa about saving Olympic wrestling.
Gable.
And Dan Gable, of course. A lot of people. Billy Baldwin's way into it. Have you got in touch with Billy at all?
Yeah. I've done this.
Okay,
with
good.
Him. Billy, Alex into it, too. And there's a lot of people. And it's just a real crucial time because they are going to eliminate Olympic wrestling.
You know what I think is ironic? I don't know if it's ironic as much as weird. I think Putin is going to be the guy to save wrestling.
That'd be great.
Because there's no...
Because he's
he's just going to go
he
whatever.
Looks like a... Yeah.
He fucking does horseback riding with no shirt on for the news.
That's true.
Like, now I'm on my horse.
Guys that have a connection to wrestling like you do, that's a real fucking connection. Like, you can say, we're doing this thing for tennis or we're doing this, whatever. But when the wrestling, and there aren't many out here in our business, they're like fucking connected because they get why it's so important.
It's the most important.
Mm-hmm.
It's the most important thing
Right.
that could ever happen to a boy.
Right, I agree.
Is to get in a wrestling move and have a guy teach you moves. And we didn't even know it was self-defense until we were like seniors and somebody just picked the fight with us and we were like, oh, wow, this guy's on the ground. This is great.
Right, exactly.
But just like cutting weight and eating right and running when no one's looking and
Right.
the work you put in. And then you're like, then you apply it to your schoolwork.
Right.
And then for the rest of your life, you go, if I could just get this fight to the ground, I'll be fine.
That's true.
And then you meet other wrestlers and you can guess how much people weigh. You work at a
Right.
carnival.
Right.
Just some guy walks in the room and you go, what about 148? Brian Callen was in here last night.
Yeah.
It's just like we had to keep our hands off each other.
Yeah.
With all the wrestling. So it must stay.
Yeah.
Badminton's still in.
Right.
So that's good.
Yeah.
Because I like watching 8 Chinese people
Right.
in a fierce rivalry with Chinese Taipei.
Right.
Just fucking
Yeah.
with the shuttlecock.
Yeah,
Any
yeah.
sport with a shuttlecock.
Yeah.
I'm down. Hormel Meat Factory's
Yeah.
own Tom Arnold.
Thank you.
This was one of the more fun times I've had in a very
appreciate
long
you
time.
guys.
And they're all fun.
Yeah, they are.
They're all, the podcast,
Yeah.
there's very few clunkers. It's always fun. And you just came in guns blazing. If you get a chance to go see Tom Arnold do stand-up comedy, You have to go. I'm telling you. I put my name on it. The guy's the fucking best, and you can shake his hand and tell him you got molested.
And if you get a chance to come here to do Jay's podcast, it is the most comfortable. It's in a garage, but the garage door's open. We're in beautiful Pacific Palisades, and it's just a beautiful night, and you don't feel like you're in a stuffy studio or something weird. It feels like you're genuinely in your garage.
We're hanging out.
We are.
There's crickets in the background, cars going by. Every once in a while, the anti-apartheid truck goes by.
And then the pro-apartheid truck comes by. And,
yeah. Tom, let's do it again soon.
Thank you
I got
much.
news for you right now. Hit him up on Twitter at Tom Arnold. They're going to start hashtagging 100%er.
Yes.
That means you're the Ted Williams. Like that's.
Oh my gosh.
Barry Katz is the guy. Him, Jim Jeffries.
Yeah, love Jim Jeffries.
Who else is on? Uncle Dan's 100%.
Oh my gosh, what an honor that would be.
And sometimes people make one appearance and like, their guy's 100%. I'm like, well, let him come back. But you're fucking 100%.
No, Katz, Jeffries, and Uncle Dan.
I do like it when people ask you about comedians that I follow you on Twitter, and you'll actually answer them because it's so politically. You always feel funny about talking about other comedians, whether you like them or not. And
I defend everybody.
Yeah, but I also feel you'd be honest about. How you really feel about somebody. You would say if some guy boned you or some guy rubbed you wrong, you would say, this guy rubbed me wrong. And it's not many people do that.
Only 2 people have canceled this podcast, and I'll tell you off mic who they are.
Okay.
And it's just like nobody big.
Right.
And you're like, what?
Of course.
And every once in a while a comic comes in with their publicist in the corner, and you're like, you realize we do the comedy show together.
Right, exactly.
Twice a week.
Yeah.
You're fucking sitting here, a publicist with their arms folded, checking their phones.
They'll learn their lesson.
You know Jeff Wills? Now he works at Live Nation. He used to work Cobb's and the Punchline in San Francisco.
Okay.
Wickedly funny guy. Totally in on the absurdity of what we do. And one day, he was trying to book somebody for a Live Nation gig, and he couldn't get the act because he had to go through the publicist.
Right.
And you obviously have a cool publicist.
Yeah, she's really nice.
So she's not in this.
No.
Okay?
No.
And he goes, and he's going on and on. He goes, you want to know what a publicist does? You want to know? And he's like he's losing his hair as we eat. I'm watching it fall into his fucking soup. And he goes, you want to know what a publicist does? He goes, call me on the phone. Call me on the phone. And I go, all right. And I make believe I'm calling him on the phone. Like he's enraged. And he goes, hi, I'm a snooty cunt. Could you do me a favor? That was his impression of the publicist.
Yeah. Mine's not like that.
No, she's great.
But
I've met her.
wonderful.
She's really cool.
Yeah, she's really cool.
I dig her.
Yeah, she's great.
And you're the best. At Tom Arnold.
Buddy.
Hit him up on Twitter. Let him know you heard him here. And hey, we could all use some love.
Absolutely.
Show my man some love because I love him. You should love him too. Tom
and you
Arnold.
too.
Matty Boy's a good dude.
Yeah, he's a good
Love
dude.
you, Tom.
Real
At
good dude.
the real Hey Matty. I don't think you've gotten a single Twitter follower
I
from
haven't.
this podcast.
No, I
From
haven't.
the radio show, yeah.
Yes.
But you don't really tweet much.
I don't, no.
You should tweet those photos of dogs with porcupines
Well,
in
you
their
just
faces.
stole one of them. So,
Well, because you snooze, you lose.
all right.
At the real Hey Matty, at Tom Arnold, at JMoore37. My friends, this is what it's like when this is how it should. Let me tell you, I'll leave on this.
Mm-hmm.
Any podcast you listen to, and there's thousands of them, anytime there's 2 comics in a room, if it doesn't go like this, it's fucking bullshit.
Right.
2 comics.
Well, I appreciate you. You're
sitting
great.
down. Like I just did Greg Fitzsimmons' podcast. I know you've done
Greg.
it. Like you just sit down, you pull the ripcord, you just go.
Plus, you want people to be good. Like, there's some people that want themselves to be good.
Yeah.
And they got their things they got to jam in there.
Yeah.
And it doesn't work with somebody like me who, I know I go on too long. I know my stories are too